Welcome to Faith Church on marriage. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about how the gospel reorients everything in our lives, including marriage, and how as husbands and wives, we have to act and react in totally different ways. Now, you hear me speak on that on Sunday mornings for the past couple of weeks, and I'm sure we'll cover it again in weeks to come and the years to come ahead. However, I want you to hear from people here at our church, people in our community. So I asked 3 couples from our church to take part in this little experiment. So I had them sit here under the big light and to relate to everyone watching. What is marriage? Why has their marriage worked? And what advice would they give to those who are thinking about getting married? So I hope you enjoy this. I can't wait for you to watch it. I hope you share it with those who your friends and family who may be thinking about getting married themselves as you see how others are living this out in their day-to-day lives. Enjoy. See you next time.
I would say giving oneself to the other, compromising, caring for someone other than yourself.
Marriage to me is a promise to before God and to God, which I think are a little different. To be committed and to spend the rest of your life until death do you part, and it's really that simple to me. I just think I wish more people understood that part of that. Not saying that I get anything special, but I just think that's the most important part, is that you're standing and you're promising before our God.
Marriage is like planting a garden. Okay, you first meet. Okay, so you plant the seeds and you I wonder if this is going to grow. Or I wonder if it's just going to die and fizzle out. And hopefully you'll see the little sprouts come up, right? And at that point you're getting to know each other better, and I guess the word love comes in there, which is important. And marriage to me means that you tend to the garden. You have to water it, you have to weed it, you have to protect it, and you have to love it. It's a commitment, and sometimes, and as you know, when you plant a garden, some things don't do so well. So hopefully you learn from those mistakes in marriage that we're all going to make at some point, one way or another, and you try not to repeat those mistakes. You try to say, okay, that didn't work and that wasn't good, so I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to try something else. And as your garden grows and your love grows and your marriage grows, it's hard. It's marriage is not easy. You have children. You're working. Both of you probably are working. And your time together is few and far between and precious. So now in our September of our years, the children are grown, they're on their own, grandchildren, and now it's time for us to reconnect. And not that rekindle is not the right word, because the spark and the fire has always been there, but to really enjoy each other. I guess you could call it you're harvesting the garden now. But that's pretty much what marriage is to me.
Marriage is, I consider it a life partnership, a life commitment, a covenant with another person, your partner, for eternity, really.
So as a Christian, I feel that marriage is a unity of two people united together with God's blessing. I find that it is a way for couples to get through life together under the guidance of God, and to just, be there for supportive of each other. If you choose to have a family, have a family if you're blessed, and just get through trials and tribulations of life with a partner to help you be happy and successful.
Marriage, to me, is commitment of two people that love and trust each other, and that make a commitment before God to do their best to stay together, and yeah.
What has made our marriage work? To be honest with you, it was probably my wife. I've had a varied career, not through my own choice, but I've been through 4 jobs during our time together, and each time, whether it was I got laid off or the place closed, I was like, oh boy, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And my wife was always supportive, never panicked, and said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'd like to try this. And she said, well, go do it. Go try it. See if it works. See if you're going to enjoy it. My wife has always been a rock. Her commitment, her loyalty has never wavered. That doesn't mean we don't have our moments of anger or arguing or whatever, but we seem to get over that pretty quickly. But I would say my wife is, she is amazing.
The first word that comes to my mind is just respect. I think I have such an enormous amount of respect for my wife that nothing could shatter it. Truly, obviously, the word love is, thrown around. I'm not a big believer that people fall in love. I never have. I think you have a connection, you have love, and hopefully that love grows every day. And my wife and I have a saying that I like. My wife says it more than me, but I love you more today than yesterday. And it almost chokes me up because I just believe so much in that. Like, are there the fireworks that necessarily were? No, it's a different, but at the risk of sounding corny, it just feels deeper all the time, like just a deeper love every day. And I think that mutual respect and that growing in love together and with accomplishing hurdles that you go through, it just keeps getting better for me.
I would say learning to compromise, to put the other before yourself, I think. And just being patient. Yeah, this is it.
What has made our marriage work is trust, communication. We had wonderful role models growing up, Christian parents. My parents were married over 50 years. And the one thing that I would say, the number one thing that makes our marriage work is, aside from Rich and myself being in our marriage, there's 3 people in our marriage, and that's Rich, myself, and the Lord.
So our marriage has worked basically because of me, but no. I was going to say Ron Dwyer, but I think communication is huge. And again, I have to keep going back to the God factor, spiritually walking together in your faith has really, bonded us even more through the years, makes you stronger, and gets through all of that. But the communication, I think, is like the biggest thing, and I think it's tough for some people, and even now it's tough, but that's huge.
A lot of patience. I think the longer you're married, kind of the easier it becomes, but really putting your spouse before yourself, and just honoring God too, and God's covenant for marriage. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, you want me to go first? The advice I would give is to make sure that you are in a place that you are both able to communicate and just work together. Don't jump into anything. Make sure it's a commitment for life, hopefully, and just making sure that you work out all the bumps and even the little things,
Me, I would, which would probably is not always the easiest, but I would encourage to make God be a large part of your life and your marriage before. The struggles that, probably forever people have encountered, but certainly in this world we're in today where it feels like Satan's attacking in a million different directions, that if you can always keep your eye on that target and know that love and commitment and work together, and to always keep God as the number one. I remember something young that my mom said to me, and she was talking about being parents, but she said, always keep God first and your wife second, and everything else will fall in place. And she was referring to parenting kids mostly. Like if you stay united, always take care of that. Because we're in a generation, or in a few now maybe, that parents lose each other because they get so caught up in the kids. And I've always remembered that advice from my mother, and I believe it to be good advice today.
Yes, you want to go?
You can go first.
If I had to give advice to someone,
I can go first if you want.
Okay.
I think, don't sweat the small stuff, and I would say, choose to build your spouse up and support them instead of choosing to tear them down. We always have a choice, and so I would say that those are two pieces of advice.
Obviously, I think for choosing, you said, you'd want to choose someone that is the same mind as, I guess, spiritually. You'd want to be on the same thought and belief.
I would say that's right. Go ahead.
I would say be patient. Don't set your expectations really high of the other person, because you've gone through the courting and all of that, which was fun. But when you live with somebody, don't expect them to conform to you. Give when you don't want to give. Take when you don't want to take. And just do the best you can with it, because it's not about you.
And that was my line. It's not about
sorry.
you. No,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
We've been together for 43 years, so
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah.
I agree, obviously, with everything that Rich said. And I think one important element before you go into marriage is to have a relationship with the Lord. Because I think what we do,
Yeah.
we really fall back on our faith.
We always have.
Yeah, and I think that is key to a good, successful marriage.